the budget, we should also cut off a bit of the overhead costs. So we took off 17 billion from the budget. And some of these hard decisions are what created the hatred that I'm going through today as an individual. If we had wanted, we would have created money in the budget and expanded the deficit, and there was so much money around to put in projects. I didn't do it. I didn't do that because I believe that it's not good for the country.
You know, that's a good thing. That's a good act. From most Nigerians who say that's a good act. But if there wasn't any hatred that followed, would you have opened up now?
Well, I have explained to you very clearly, and I am sure that you will not deny that even in your own organization, there are probably things that will happen that you do not want, but you cannot talk. No matter how courageous you are not talking, not because you don't want to talk, but because the society in itself, our culture, our tradition, has forced us, has scared us to believe that when you do that, your image is destroyed. You will only be likely if there's a trigger for you to talk. And I've explained that to you, that in this particular instance, this situation is a trigger. So let's look at the positive. Rather than saying, oh, why are you now talking? I have explained to you that internally I've done all I could. I did everything that I can. And by the time the investigation opened, I will give evidence that I did all I could to fight these things internally and get these issues addressed. You know? So, because I was denied that internally, of course, I have no choice than to raise it. In fact, a lot of my colleagues, now that they know what actually transpired, majority of them. And so we went back to deal with it at the level of the House. So I think let's look at these things from a clearly point of merit without any bias. A lot of young people face these issues. Everything in this country, you may never know how many whistleblowers who would have got it, if not for the fact that people are afraid. And I've explained to you that even now, a lot of people that will say, oh, no, stop doing it. The reason they will give you is that nobody is going to trust you again. You know? So even now that you are talking, if people are coming to give you that kind of advice, just imagine when you were in the system.
Well, so some of the issues they also raised were that if you knew this all along, why didn't you, or now that you've lifted the lid, would you be taking this further to the anti-graft agencies?
Just to let you know, absolutely. After this morning, my lawyers are going there and just being a bit cautious not to preempt the House and my colleagues. I know that definitely an investigation will be instituted at the level of the House to conduct a comprehensive investigation into this matter. But again, as a prelude, since we are on recess, rather to leave the issue hanging, this morning my lawyers are taking petitions to the AFCC and the ICPC. And I think that should serve as an appetizer before we get to the main issue.
All right, we've got a comment from Honorable...
Sorry, if I will interrupt you for the first time.
Go ahead.
You see, the impression is that when it was good, I wasn't talking. Now it's bad, I'm talking. Besides the points I've explained to you, the constraint, especially that young people especially face within the system when they see things going on wrong, the Nigerians will be surprised. There's never been a good time between myself and Speaker Jogana. Never. We fell apart just about 3 weeks, 4 weeks after his elections. So I have been going through this in the last 1 year because I made an error of judgment on his person. The person I knew was Fred, but I thought Jogana is more stable, has a better temperament to be a speaker. I didn't know him so much. Few weeks later, I discovered that he's a completely different person. Wouldn't listen to anyone, carry on with so much ego. We practically disagreed on everything. Appointments of committees, bills, his pattern of running the house, everything. So he stayed away from me, I stayed away from him. But who will I go and tell outside the kind of role I played in bringing him in as speaker? Who on earth will I tell? So that's the pain I went through in the last 1 year. He has derailed and he's leading the house.
Well, we know that there are usually camps in there are usually camps. So now that you made an error of judgment, does that mean that you're going back to Honorable Femi's camp?
You made me anyway. I haven't laughed in the last couple of days. Thank you for making me at least to have a laugh. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't see the future. But if I were Speaker Dogara, in the interest of the country, these are allegations, and he knows that everything I'm saying is fictions. He knows that. And if they have anything against me, or if I'm at fault, I assure you 100% that Speaker Dogara and his cohorts in the House, the small committee built around him, bunch of mediocres, they would have raised all the issues they have against. They have nothing. I don't get involved in corruption with the House. I came in as one of the youngest members, paid as chair finance, conducted a lot of sensitive investigation, left clean, raised issues publicly. I've never shied away from doing that. I've never shied away from talking about corruption in the House and cleaning up corruption in the House. I've spoken to him separately about the importance of doing that.
Well, so speaking about that, we've got a comment from Honorable Yunusa, who was on our sister program yesterday. Here's what he said. We'd like to get your response, and if you could just listen in for a moment.
Please.
Honorable Abdulmumin has been found really to be incompetent because, in fact, even the Speaker or the principal officers, let me put it, including the Speaker, have been protecting it. That is the perception of all the chairmen of committees in the National Assembly and members. We perceive as if the leadership is really protecting Jubrin because he has really displayed clearly an arrogantness, a kind of a perpendicularity, high-handedness. He single-handedly handled the issue of that 2016 budget before it was concluded, taken to Mr. President, and Mr. President refused to assent. It was now returned back. We have to set up a committee, including the senators and the House of Representatives under the chairmanship of Deputy Speaker, Engineer Yusuf Lasum. Then they were able to resolve the differences before Mr. President ascended. Abdulmumin caused that mess. Outrightly, members and the chairman, in fact, let me even tell you, members of his committee were not carried along.
Well, Honorable, that was Ahmed Yunusa saying that members of your committee in his final words that were not carried along, that you did not run it properly.
Yeah, well, I have a very good relationship with him. He's about 60 years old. I call him uncle. And it is a problem for a young man within the system. One of the allegations people have never made about me in my life is to call me a corrupt person, number one, or to accuse me of being incompetent. I've never been accused of being incompetent. It's a difficult one to blow your trumpet, but when you're pushed to the wall, you have to. Went to different schools in Nigeria, attended a PhD, went to some of the best universities outside the country, US school in US, Switzerland, London, and the rest, taught at the university, reading books, ran a very successful company business that is running, have a second address, came to the parliament, been part of the budgeting system in the last 5 years, chairman finance, and a lot of other advocacy responsibility outside the National Assembly. My profile is there for the public to see. I've never been accused of being incompetent, and I'm not a high-headed person. People who are close to me understand that
All right.
Because I spent the better part of my life joking. You hardly believe it. You know me one-on-one. You hardly believe that I can even be serious. So I think for people like there's a bit of an issue of age gap, or this young man needs to be behind the scene. I cannot see any substance in what he said. And by the way,
all right, Honorable, we need to wrap up. Yeah, but we appreciate you talking to us today. But Honorable, we will be in touch with you and get more subsequently. But to thank you very much indeed for talking to us today. Honorable Abdulmumin Jubrin is a former chairman, House Committee on Appropriation. We'll be back in a moment. Join us again.